Good morning, class. My name is TT, and today I'll be getting you guys through my presentation, the final project. And in slide 1, today I'll be talking to you about the House versus NCAA major legal case that's changing how college athletes get paid and challenging NCAA rules on amateurism. So moving on to the first slide is the House versus NCAA filed in 2020 by former athletes, including Grant House. They argued the NCAA illegally limited athletes' ability to earn money from their name, image, and likeness, or NIL as most people call it. So the NCAA made billions of college sports, but athletes couldn't share that income. Moving on to the second slide is, before 2021, the NCAA rules banned most athlete compensation beyond scholarships. The lawsuit claimed that this violated federal antitrust laws, specifically the Sherman Act, because the NCAA restricted the competition in the athlete compensation market. The key questions: did the NCAA break the laws by capping athlete pay? Should athletes get retroactive damages for lost opportunities? Moving on to the third slide, arguments from both sides. So the plaintiffs say the NCAA artificially suppressed athletes earning unfairly profit in their labor. They want billions in damages for lost NIL deals. The NCAA argues amateurism preserves college sports' unique nature and competitive balance, and courts should respect their authority to regulate athlete pay. So basically, in that last slide there, the NCAA is basically trying to say that even though athletes do contribute to the profit margins they make within the sport, they're saying that they've always kept the NCAA as an amateur league, an amateur sport, where athletes have a fair chance to all be successful without having, obviously, wages and payments having to be made, where it makes it an amateur sort of level where it becomes a unique nature of competitive balance without money being involved. So moving on to the fourth slide is settlement and impact. In May 2024, the NCAA agreed to pay $2.77 billion settlement over 10 years. It includes back for athletes and revenue sharing model going forward. This changes college sports fundamentally. Schools now share revenue directly with athletes, shifting power and dynamics and athletes' rights. Slide 5, why does it matter? House versus NCAA breaks down the barrier that limited athlete compensation for decades. It empowers the athletes and forces the NCAA to rethink amateurism. This case will shape college sports' future, athlete welfare, and possibly inspire further legal and policy changes. Moving on to the 8th slide, we got conclusion. To sum up, House versus NCAA is a landmark case reshaping athlete compensation and NCAA rules. It highlights the growing recognition of athletes' rights and fair pay. Thank you for listening, and I'm here for any questions if you have any. So I've got a few extra content here. So I've got more background on the NIL. The NCAA changed NIL rules in 2021, allowing athletes to profit from the endorsements, sponsorships, and personal branding for the first time ever. House versus NCAA focuses whether athletes should receive compensation retroactively for losses before this change. So hopefully players that were playing in the NCAA can get compensated with the money that they may have lost out on, or at least a rough estimate. This case follows earlier ones like O'Bannon versus NCAA 2015 that began the challenging strict NCAA amateur rules. So for more extra content over here, we got broader impact on international and college sports. The settlement could encourage more schools to investigate and invest in athlete compensation programs, widening the gap between wealthy and smaller programs. Some worry this professionalizes college sports, but others see that overdue justice for athletes generating billions for these colleges and universities. It may also lead to changes in the NCAA governance and calls for athlete representation in decision making. So more extra content, we got legal and ethical implications. House versus NCAA raises important questions about fairness, labor rights, and the role of amateurism in the sports. Ethically, it changes and challenges the idea that athletes should compete without pay while others profit from it. The case sparks debate on how to balance education, competition, and athlete welfare going forward. So what's next for NCAA schools? NCAA schools will need to design new compensation models, balancing fairness and sustainability. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a good night.